Welcome to the second lesson of IELTS Listening MCQs. Listening module එකේ MCQs වලට මුහුණ දීමට වඩා හොඳම හා නිවැරදි ක්‍රමයක ක්‍රියාදෙන මේ පාඩම් මාලාවේ දෙවන පාඩමයි මේ. ඒවා මේ පාඩම් වලට අලුත් නම් මේකේ පළවෙනි පාඩම නරඹලා ඉන්න අපි මේ පාඩමේදී MCQs සම්බන්ධයෙන් මූලික කරුණු ගොඩක් කතා කරා. ඒ දැනුමත් වැදගත් වේවි මේ පාඩම හදාරන්න. Then let's go to lesson and try to understand the most effective way of doing IELTS listening MCQs. So these are our MCQs today. First you do it, then we'll discuss the answers. I'll play the record now.
Section 3. You will hear a university tutor and a new student called Paul discussing Paul's work experience and Latin American Studies course. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
I've been reading your personal statement, Paul. First, let's talk about your work experience in South America. What took you there? Was it to gain more fluency in Spanish?
Well, as I'm combining Spanish with Latin American studies, my main idea was to find out more about the way people lived there. My spoken Spanish was already pretty good, in fact.
So you weren't too worried about language barriers?
No. In fact, I ended up teaching English there, although that wasn't my original choice of work.
I see. How did you find out about all this?
I found an agency that runs all kinds of voluntary projects in South America.
What kind of work?
Well, there were several possibilities.
You mean construction, engineering work?
Yes, getting involved in building projects was an option. Then there was tourism, taking tourists for walks around the volcanoes, which I actually chose to do, and then there was work with local farmers.
But you didn't continue with that project. Why not?
Because I never really knew whether I'd be needed or not. I'd thought it might be difficult physically, but I was certainly fit enough. Now, I wanted to do something that had more of a proper structure to it, I suppose. I get demotivated otherwise.
What do you think you learned from your experience? It must have been a great opportunity to examine community life.
Yes, but it was difficult at first to be accepted by the locals. It was a very remote village, and some of them were reluctant to speak to me, although they were always interested in my clothes and how much I had to pay for them.
Well, that's understandable.
Yes, but things soon improved. What struck me was that when people became more comfortable with me and less suspicious, we really connected with each other in a meaningful way.
You made good friends?
Yes, with two of the families in particular.
Good. What about management? Did you have a project manager?
Yes, and he gave me lots of advice and guidance.
And was he good at managing too?
That wasn't his strong point. I think he was often more interested in the academic side of things than filing reports. He was a bit of a dreamer.
And did you have a contract?
I had to stay for a minimum of 3 months. My parents were surprised when I asked to stay longer, 6 months in the end. I was so happy there.
And did anything on the administration side of things surprise you? What was the food and lodging like?
Simple, but there was plenty to eat, and I only paid $7 a day for that, which was amazing, really. And they gave me all the equipment I needed, even a laptop.
You didn't expect that then?
No.
Well, I'll look forward to hearing more.
Okay. Now I think you have done it very well. Now we can check the answers. But before we check the answers, we can understand how we can do the MCQs. In the first lesson, I told you a way. මම ද ක්‍රමයක් යදුන පළවෙනි පාඩමේදී how to deal with MCQs. අපි එතනද කියව පළවෙනි දේ තමයි මොනවාද? when you are given this kind of MCQ set, the first thing you should do to understand what the context is about. මේකේ context එක මොකක්ද කියලා තේරුම් ගන්න කියලා කිව්වා. So how I asked you to do it, can you remember? කොහොමද මම මේක කරන්න කිව්වේ? So we normally, the record at the beginning, the record says what the record is about, or what the passage is about, or what the questions are about. So you listen to that one. While listening to that one, look at the heading, try to understand the heading, and the heading and the first part of the record will let you know what the context is. So you can just jot down, if they are saying names, you can just take down what are the names so that it will be easy for you to remember it. Now listen to the record to understand what the context is.
Section 3. You will hear a university tutor and a new student called Paul discussing Paul's work experience and Latin American Studies course. First,
Okay, it says that a new student called Paul is discussing his work experience in Latin America Studies with his tutor. So then Paul definitely is a male, and Paul is speaking with tutor. We don't know whether tutor is a male or female until we listen to the record. So establish that one. A university student called Paul is talking with his tutor about Latin America Studies, a part of his work experience. That is the context. You first develop that. Now the second thing what we do, there we get somewhere about 15 to 30 seconds. Within that time, the second thing what we do not read the MCQs with the options. We read only the questions stem. So we'll read the questions. Here, Paul decided to get work experience in South America because he wanted. Now here we know that Paul is the university student. He has decided to get work experience where South America, because he wanted. You know, Latin America, another word for South America. We say South American countries or Latin American countries like Brazil, Argentina. Those are the countries, Paraguay, Uruguay. Those are the countries that means below American border. You have that in American continent, we have America, the USA, below that we have Mexico, and below that the South American continent. So they are called Latin American countries. So keep in mind that South America means Latin America. They are very important to understand. Now, the university student has decided to get work experience in South America because he wanted. Yes, now that means the Paul has decided why he wanted to go to South America. Not somebody has asked him to do so. And the second one, what project work did Paul originally intend to get involved in? This is something very important. Originally intend to get involved in. That means intended, hope. So they are asking what is the project work that Paul originally wanted to do. Not that he did, he wanted to do. So they answer that means his original ambition or original aim may not be the one that he actually did. It might be a change. There might be a change. So here we are listening for what project work did Paul originally intend to do work involved in. Okay, now here we are aiming for the project, what Paul initially wanted to do. This is something very important to take notice. Next one, why did Paul change from one project to another? Now here, what has happened here, Paul has changed, or Paul changed his project. The Paul is giving the answer, the reason why he changed projects. The tutor might be asking about these questions, then Paul is answering. Next one, in the village community, he learned how important it was to. Now here, the Paul might have gone to a village in South America. So there, what he has learned something important. Yes, you might have seen a lot of videos that people go to like these rural communities in Africa, in South America, like Amazon or places like Amazon. So they go and they live with these communities to understand their life. So it's something like that, what Paul did. So then in the village community, he learned how important it was to. That means maybe talking about how to deal with the community or villages. Next one, what does Paul say about his project manage? And now there's a change. So up to now, it was about his project. But after that one, what does Paul say about his project manager? They are talking about his project. The one who runs his project or his boss, project manager. The next one, the Paul was surprised to be given. He was surprised, that means he was amazed to be given. It can't be the salary, can be huge salary or something kind of a surprising. It definitely can be something from the people who run the project. So this is the way we establish the idea, understand how information flows in the passage. But keep in mind that you don't have 10 minutes to do so. You have only, how long do you have? Only you have 1 minute? No, you have 15 to 30 seconds. That's the challenge. Okay, now let's take the answers. The answer for the first one, number 21, is C. Are you correct? Let's check that one. Now, when you do that one, you should have underlined these keywords. Paul decided to get work experience in South America because he wanted. Now here, we are asking the purpose, the reason why Paul wanted to get work experience in South America. While the record's going on, we have to look at the option. The first one, teach English there, keyword. Next one, to improve his Spanish. And the next one, to learn about Latin American life. අපි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මතක තියාගන්න South American රටවල main language එකක් තමයි Spanish. Keep in mind that, not English. Okay. Now we listen and try to understand what Paul says about this. Now listen that part.
I've been reading your personal statement, Paul. First, let's talk about your work experience in South America. What took you there? Was it to gain more fluency in Spanish?
Well,
now the tutor asks, was it to gain more fluency in Spanish? Because as I told you, in South America, the main language, most of the countries, the main language is Spanish. Now here, option B is to improve Spanish. Be careful about that one. That can be a trap.
as I'm combining Spanish with Latin American studies, my main idea was...
As I combine in Latin America with Spanish, so he doesn't say anything about this Spanish.
In South America, what took you there? Was it to gain more fluency in Spanish?
Well, as I'm combining Spanish with Latin American studies, my main idea was to find out more about the way people lived there.
My main idea was to find out more about the way people live there. That means to learn about Latin American life, the way people live. Aren't they talking about, that means option C is the answer, the way, it can be the answer to learn about Latin American life. Aren't they talking about option A?
My spoken Spanish was already pretty good, in fact.
Then again say that my spoken Spanish was pretty good. Then he doesn't want to improve that. That means, oh, yeah, what's happening here? Sorry. He says, my spoken Spanish was pretty good. That means he doesn't want to improve that. That means we can't take that one. Now, see whether they say something about A.
Paul, first, let's talk about your work experience in South America. What took you there? Was it to gain more fluency in Spanish?
Well, as I'm combining Spanish with Latin American studies, my main idea was to find out more about the way people lived there. My spoken Spanish was already pretty good, in fact.
So you weren't too worried about language barriers?
No. In fact,
You weren't too worried about language barrier. So that means Paul is not worrying about this language barrier.
I ended up teaching English there, although that wasn't my original choice of work.
I see. How did
Now, what does Paul say about teaching English?
barriers?
No. In fact, I ended up teaching English there, although that wasn't my original choice of work.
I ended up teaching English there. That means Paul has started teaching there. But he say, although that wasn't my original ambition. Original, something like that, he said. Yes, that means teaching English wasn't the original ambition. That is not decision he go there. Okay, that means the answer is C. So that's how you have to work on. Now, as I told in the part 1, previous lesson number 1, you can use this tape script or record script to your benefit. Once you do something like that, always listen, look at the tape scripts and try to understand the language. You can listen to the record again while looking at the tape scripts and understand the language there. So there is native speakers' language that can be used in the speaking part very effectively. So you can by heart some of the sentences, expressions that they use, they can be used in the speaking part as well. Even that will improve your listening, the speaking as well, writing as well. Now here, the tutor, he's a female. I've been reading your personal statement, Paul. First talk about your work experience in South America. What took you there? They're asking about the purpose. What took you there? Was it to gain more fluency in Spanish? Yeah. Now what Paul says, well, as I'm combining Spanish with Latin American studies, my main idea was to find out more about the way people live there. So he say my main idea. That means his main purpose to learn about the way Latin American live. That means Latin American life. My spoken Spanish was already pretty good, in fact. He says my Spanish is okay, spoken Spanish. Then he didn't want to improve that part. So you weren't too worried about language barriers? No. In fact, I ended up teaching English there. He has started teaching English, although that wasn't my original choice of work. That is not Paul's, the teaching English wasn't Paul's original or initial ambition. Not because he wanted to teach English, Paul decided to go to South America to get work experience. Then the answer should be C. See how the distractions, okay, always now there are distractions. The examiner try to confuse us. Okay, there are so many distractions. Now here in this case, the speaker, the record talks about all the 3 options and try to distract you. So be careful about that one. Okay, you have to pay attention to the record and listen carefully. Then you'll be able to get the answer. So then the answer to number 21 is C. Now number 22. The answer is, what's your answer? It should have been C. It should be C. Yeah, did you get that one? Let's check. Here our keywords, what project work did Paul originally intended to get involved in? Again, hope to get involved in. Yes, in the first part, they were talking about original ambition, wasn't teaching English. Okay, but here is asking, what is Paul's original intent? Intent noun is intention, balapuruttu, hope. Original, we can say initial, first, something like that. Involved in, a similar word we can say engaged in. Intent, hope, okay, intention, the noun, There may be that may be in the record. Originally, that means mainly or first, something like that, or initial. Now listen to the record and how understand the answer.
How did you find out about all this?
I found an agency that runs all kinds of voluntary projects in South America.
What kind of work?
Well, there were several possibilities.
So what kind of work? There were several possibilities, yeah. Now you should have underlined actually before, sorry, I couldn't tell you about that one. You should have looked at the options: constructions, agriculture, tourism. They are all in nouns. Now you are waiting for the answer. So what does Paul say?
Construction, engineering work?
Uh,
How did you... What kind of work?
Well, there were several possibilities.
You mean construction, engineering work?
Now the tutor says, you means constructions and agricultural work. That means A and B. Be careful with that one.
Yes, getting involved in building projects was an option. Then there was tourism, taking tourists.
Yes, getting involved in construction work was an option, or building work was an option. That means answer B, answer B can be the answer.
Tourists for walks around the volcanoes, which I actually was tourism option. In building projects was an option. Then there was tourism, taking tourists for walks around the volcanoes, which I actually chose to do. And then there was work with local farmers.
Oh. So now here again they are confusing us. So there was some work, tourism, to work with tourism, so taking tourists to volcanoes, which I actually did. Okay. Or which I actually choose to do, the Paul says. And again, they say there are some work with agriculture as well, farms. But he didn't say that he started working in a farm, working on a farm. Then the answer should be tourism. Even though the constructions, agriculture were mentioned, he didn't get involved in those areas. The answer should be tourism. Now look at the tape scripts to understand this. I say, how did you find about all this? The tutor is asking. I found an agency that runs all kinds of volunteer projects in South America. What kind of work? Still, they are not coming to the answer. Well, there were several possibilities. Now they are talking about the answer. So what you should do while the record goes on, you have to pay attention to these options until they start talking about the Paul, talking about Paul's original ambition. Until then, you have to listen carefully. Until then, so now here, yes, getting involved in building projects was an option. That means construction work. Then there was tourism, taking tourists for walks around volcanoes, Ginikandu, which I actually chose to do. Then Paul has got involved in tourism, taking tourism to volcanoes to show show them volcanoes. And there was work with local farms, but he didn't say anything about getting involved in local farms. Then the answer should be C. Again, the record or the examiner tries to confuse us or distract us by talking about constructions and even agriculture. You have to be very careful. Okay, number 23rd, what's your answer? It should be A. Did you get that one correct? Yes, let's see. Now here, what are the keywords? Why did Paul change from one project to another? Now it seems that Paul is changing projects. They are asking the tutor is asking the reason. Now here, the options are very long. You have to read very quickly. His first job was not well organized. First job, not well organized. He found doing the routine work very boring. They're talking about boring aspect of routine work. Next on, the work was physically demanding. Physically demanding means he has to work hard. Kind of a lot of manual work can be. Manuals. Let's see what the record says.
But you didn't continue with that project. Why not?
Yes, the Paul stopped
But
working
you didn't
there.
continue with that project.
Paul had stopped working there. Why? That's why tutor asks, you didn't continue with that project. Why not? So the Paul is giving reason. That means the answer why he is changed from one project to another. Yes.
Why not?
Because I never really knew whether I'd be needed or not.
I never knew I will be needed or not. Nothing was about that in the options A, B, C. No, nothing was about that.
I'd thought it might be difficult physically, but I was certainly fit enough.
He thought it was difficult physically, but he said I was certainly fit enough. That means the work was too physically demanding. You can't take that one because why? Paul says he was fit enough. So we can't take that one. That means we can't take option C. But nothing was said about the bore inside of the daily routine, the work routine. Yeah.
Now, I wanted to do something that had more of a proper structure to it, I suppose. I get demotivated otherwise.
He said that he wanted to do something with more structure, more organized. Otherwise, he says that he get demotivated. That means his first job was not well organized. That means the place is not organized. That's why he has left the place. Then we have to say the answer is organized. He didn't say anything about the boring factor. He said he could get demotivated if the place is not organized. That means structure. Yeah, the proper structure, that means organization. Now look at the tape script to understand that one. But you didn't continue with the project. Why not? Because the Paul answers, because I never really knew whether I needed or not. That means Paul didn't know about his involvement, whether that he's needed there or not. I thought it might be difficult physically, but I was certainly fit enough. He thought could be physically difficult, but he says, I was certainly fit enough. That means physically demanding. Even though physically demanding, he has to work very hard, do a lot of manual work. He says, I am fit. So then that wasn't his problem to change the project. I wanted to something that has more proper structure to it. Here, proper structure means well organized. See the similar word the examiner has here. Okay, talking about proper structure, that means well organized. Okay, I suppose I get demotivated otherwise. If there's no kind of a structure, Paul get demotivated. So the answer is number A. Again here, option C was talking about, the record talks about option C, but nothing was mentioned about B. Only two options, A and C, they talk about, but the correct answer is A. Yes, okay. Okay, now we can look at number 24. What is your answer there? It should be B. Have you got that answer? Yes, we'll see. Now here our keywords. In the village community, he learned how important it was to. The options are respect family life, develop trust, use money wisely. So underline them. Respect family life, develop trust, use money wisely. Now listen to the record.
What do you think you learned from your experience? It must have been a great opportunity to examine community life.
Yes, but it was difficult at first to be accepted by the locals. It was a very remote village, and some of them were reluctant to speak to me, although they were always interested in my clothes and how much I had to pay for them.
Well, that's understandable.
Yes, but things soon improved. What struck me was that when people became more comfortable with me and less suspicious, we really connected with each other in a meaningful way.
You made good friends?
Yes, with two of the families in particular.
Good.
Bit long and difficult seems. It seems a bit difficult. Right,
what do you think you learned from your experience? It must have been a great opportunity to examine community life.
Yeah.
Yes, but it was difficult at first to be accepted by the locals.
It was difficult first to be accepted by locals. Being a foreigner.
It was a very remote village, and some of them were reluctant to speak to me, although they were always interested in my clothes and...
It was a very remote village, and some of them were reluctant to speak with Paul, although they were interested in his clothes. Clothes means andum, so still we can't take, but they are reluctant to speak. Yeah, nothing, A, B, C, nothing was talk about options. Still no answer.
how much I had to pay for them.
Well,
Yeah, clothes, okay.
well, that's understandable.
Yes, but things soon improved. What struck me was that when people became more comfortable with me and
When people became more comfortable with me,
less suspicious, we really connected with each other in a meaningful way.
You made good friends?
They were less
Yes,
suspicious. Suspicious කියනට සැකේ අඩු කරන. ඒගොල්ලෝ සැකෙන් බලන්නේ නැත්තේ being in a foreigner in a remote village, so became less suspicious. සැකේ ඒගොල්ලන් අඩු වුණා, බලන විදිය වෙනස් වුණා.
You made good friends?
Yes, me and less suspicious, we really connected with each other in a meaningful way.
Then they really connected with each other in a meaningful way. So then what is the answer? How important is to respect family life? He doesn't talk about their family life, respecting. Develop trust. They say that they became less suspicious. That means trust. If you trust the other person, you become less suspicious. If you can't trust that person, saka hitana, saka karana. That's the trust. Okay, that means then you are not you are not suspecting the other person. The adjective is suspicious. Then develop trust can be the answer. Now look at the recording, the tape scripts to understand this. What do you think you learned from your experience? It must have been a great opportunity to examine community life. Yes, but it is difficult at first to be accepted by the locals. Local did not accept him. It was a very remote village, and some of them were reluctant to speak to me. Reluctant. පැකිලෙනවා කතා කරන්න. Although they were always interested in my clothes and how much I had to pay for them. So this is the distraction. Use money wisely. Because if you pay a lot extravagantly for your clothes, you are not using money wisely. But Paul didn't say anything about that. No, those people saying that you're spending too much on your clothes. No. It's something that they were interested in clothes. Understand? And they're thinking how much I have to pay for them. But Paul didn't learn how important to use money wisely. That's understandable. Yeah, next one. Yes, but things soon improved. What struck me, what made me more interested in me, that when people became more comfortable with me and less suspicious, we really connected with each other in a meaningful way. More comfortable, they can approachable, they can approach Paul and they can speak to them, smile with them, something like that one. Then they become more comfortable. They didn't consider Paul as a stranger. Then they become less suspicious. That means they have developed trust with them. Then the answer is develop trust. Now number 25. What's your answer? It should be C. Here they are talking about, what is the question? What does Paul say about his project manager? Now something different. He's talking about his job, project manager. Now read the options. He let Paul do most of the work. He means here project manager. His plans were too ambitious. He has got kind of ambitious plans. He was very supportive to Paul. So now here, he let Paul do most of the work. That means Paul will speak negatively about this person. But he was very supportive of Paul. Paul should talk about positively about this person, what the manager has done to Paul. But next one is about manager himself. His plans were too ambitious. Now listen to that one. Listen to the record.
Did you have a project manager?
Yes, and he gave me lots of advice and guidance.
And was he good at managing too?
That wasn't his
He gave me a lot of advices. Look at this. Then can be the answer.
and he gave me lots of advice and guidance.
Did you
Lots
have a
of
project
advice
manager?
and guidance.
Yes, and he gave me lots of advice and guidance.
Yeah, then number C, he gave me a lot of advices and guidance. Yeah, that means, yeah, no, if a person give you advice and kind of guidance, it can be support. Actually, here their tone is there. Now, listen to Paul's tone of the voice. He's speaking very enthusiastically about it. That means Paul appreciating the manager. Listen that one again. Here the voice, the tone is also very important to understand the answer. Yeah. Listen that one again.
Did you have a project manager?
Yes, and he gave me lots of advice and guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And was he good at managing too?
That wasn't his strong point. I think he was often more interested in the academic side of things than filing reports. He was a bit of a dreamer.
And did you have...
He said he was more interested in the academic side and he was a bit of a dreamer. One who dreams about that. Yes, then something to do with the dreaming. Here he let Paul do most of the work. No, nothing was said about this. Paul says that he was very supportive. He was a bit of a dreamer. Okay, if you are a dreamer, you can say you are ambitious. But the thing is, too ambitious, onwata vada. So then we have a problem to go for option B or C. But at the beginning, Paul talked very enthusiastically about the advices. He gave me a lot of advices and got of kind of, the instructions. So because of that reason, even though that Paul talk about his manager saying he's a dreamer, we can't take his too ambitious. Too can honor of vada ambitious. He says he's a bit of a dreamer, not too much dreamer. Anyhow, we can't take B. So the A, they didn't mention about A, then the answer should be C. Now look at the tape script to understand that. Good. What about management? Did you have project manager? Yes, he gave me lots of advice and guidance. And he was he good at managing too? That wasn't his strong point. I think he was more often interested in the academic side of things than filling reports. Yeah, sorry. He was a bit of a dreamer. Yeah. He was a bit of a dreamer. That means he's dreamer. So we have to take the answer. He was very supportive of Paul. So the answer should be number C. Yeah? Now let's go to next one. Now we have come to last one, number 26. The answer is A. Did you get that one? The answer should be A. Shall we listen and find out?
And did you have a contract?
I had to stay for a minimum of 3 months. My parents were...
The question is, here the question is, Paul was surprised to be given a computer to use, a little money to live on. So little money can be surprising. An extension to his contract. Extension. Extend kiyana verb ekේ noun එක extension to his contract. So let's see what the answer is. So what Paul says about what he's surprised. Giving a computer or little money, so little money. That means පොඩ්ඩක්වත් මදි, තාමත් little money එකක්, or extension. They have given extension to the work. Let's say.
And did you have a contract?
Yeah.
I had to stay for a minimum of 3 months.
Yeah.
My parents were surprised when I asked to stay longer, 6 months.
My parents were surprised when I asked to stay longer 6 months. And extends to his contract, parents surprised වෙලා තියෙන. Paul නෙවෙයි වගේ මට පේන විදියට.
In the end, I was so happy there.
And
I was so happy there. So then C can be an answer. Extension given. His parents are surprised and Paul was also happy. But we have to be careful. Listen again. See whether now you can put tentatively answer C. Samata answer C venna puluwang, but we don't know.
did anything on the administration side of things surprise you? What was the food and lodging like?
Simple, but there was plenty to eat, and I only paid $7 a day for that, which was amazing, really. And they gave me all the equipment I...
They say food was amazing, yeah. He could eat his food for $7 a day. He thought it was amazing. So then again, that is kind of a supportive, amazing, surprising, yes, my goodness. Now there are two things that supportive, but he didn't talk about anything about to live on, ජීවත් වෙන්න. එතකොට ඒක ඇති නේද? $7 එකක් කියන ඇති කියලා. Yeah, it was amazing. Then we can't take that one. Why? So little money. Little money කියන්නේ තාමත් අපි little money තාමත් පොඩි මුදලක්. පුංචි මන්ද නෙවෙයි. Okay, so little money to live in කියන්නේ කොහොමදවත් ජීවත් වෙන්න මදිය දෙන මුදල. Then we can avoid, we can say that we can eliminate B. We can't take that now. Yes. Now Paul's parents were surprised to be given an extension. Paul said he was happy. So then one is there a computer to use. So B we can eliminate B option. It's a kind of a distractions.
$7 a day for that, which was amazing, really.
Amazing, yeah.
And they gave me all the equipment I needed, even
He gave me all the equipment I needed, yeah.
a laptop.
You didn't expect that then?
No.
Well, I'll look forward to hearing more.
Now this is taken from a bit old book, I think Cambridge 8. So kind of think about this bit past, what that happened in the past. So he was amazed and they gave me all equipment I need, even a laptop. So the laptop might have been a luxury those days. ඒක ටිකක් අතීත කාලේ ගැන හිතන්න. දැන් ඉතින් ලැප්ටොප් එකක් දෙනවා කිව්වොත් ඒක ඉතින් ඒක එමෙහි සර්ප්‍රයිස් එකක්ද කියලා ගැටලුවක් වෙයි. නමුත් හිතන්න ඉස්සර කාලේ ටිකක් මේක අතීතයට බර එකක්. ඉතින් ඒ කාලේ ලැප්ටොප් එකක් කියන්නේ ගොඩ ලොකු ලක්සරි අයිටම් එකක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. තේරෙනවද? අනිවාර්යෙන් වෙලා තිබුණා. ලැප්ටොප් එකක් ඉතින් ලැප්ටොප් එකක් කියන්නේ තාමත් ලක්සරි අයිටම් එකක් ඒ කාලේදී. දැන් ඉතින් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් something that everyday thing. So you didn't expect that then, no. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing more that the tutor say, yeah, I'm going to listen to you more. So then, no, he didn't expect them to give a laptop. Then the surprise comes because he was given a laptop. The Paul hasn't expected that from that people. Okay, yeah. Now, giving laptop for a job is not kind of a thing that you're surprised. But assume that this is something that happened in the past. So that's how we do the speaking. So I did a lot of kind of a discussion. I hope that you can learn a lot here with this way, and learn how to use this tape scripts or record script to your benefit. That is what I wanted to show here. And listen attentively and develop your skills to fare this exam, the listening part well, because there are many people out there who find listening so difficult. Now look at the answers again. Now here you can see the answers again. I have underlined the answers. So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many answers out of 6? You can put in the comment section below so that I can check them and give you opinions here. Now this is going to be a lesson series. I'll be doing MCQs and all the other questions type as well. But for the very beginning, I'll be doing MCQs. Then please subscribe to us. That's a great help. And share these videos with your friends, and see you again with another lesson.